Imagine checking your bank balance one night and seeing a few dollars left. The next morning, you wake up a millionaire. That really happened to an elderly man in Russia. His tiny account suddenly showed more than 10 million rubles. His bank wrote it off as a clerical error. In reality, it was a glitch in the biggest, quietest bank robbery operation the world had ever seen. A billion-dollar heist carried out not with guns or masks, but with emails, patience, and a keyboard. This is the story behind the Carbonac Group, a cybercrime crew that treated banks the way old-school mobsters treated armored trucks. They didn't just drain accounts at random. They learned how banks work from the inside, copied the routines of real employees, and then used the bank's own systems to move money into their pockets. If you've ever trusted your savings to a screen and a password, this story is closer to home than it sounds. It all started with something simple: an email. A bank employee in Russia received a message that looked completely legitimate, supposedly from a customer. Attached was a Word document. Opening it felt like part of a normal workday, but that file carried hidden malware. The moment it was opened, it installed a secret backdoor that let the criminals watch and control that computer from anywhere in the world. No alarms, no pop-ups, nothing visible, just quiet access. From there, they didn't rush. They spread through the bank's internal network, hopping from one machine to another until they reached the systems that really mattered. They installed screen-sharing software so they could literally see what employees were doing. At one point, a security expert testing a suspicious computer typed "hello" into a blank document. The cursor replied on its own, "Hello, you won't catch us." That wasn't movie dialogue. That was a real-time taunt from criminals who had been hiding in that bank's systems for months. Their next move shows how well they understood people. They slowed down an administrator's computer on purpose, making it glitchy and frustrating. Eventually, IT support was called in to fix it. While the technician typed in powerful admin passwords, a hidden keylogger recorded every keystroke. With those credentials, the criminals essentially got the master key to the whole building. They could now access the bank's domain controller, the core server that controls who can log in and what they can do. From that point on, they weren't outsiders. As far as the system was concerned, they were trusted insiders. Once they owned the network, the robbery began. But it didn't look like a robbery. It looked like normal banking. They studied employees' daily routines and then copied them. They pretended to be high-ranking staff and used the international SWIFT system to send large transfers to accounts they controlled. On paper, the transactions followed all the rules. The system had no reason to flag them as suspicious. They also abused the bank's e-payment systems, bouncing money through accounts in places like China and the United States before it was finally withdrawn by money mules on the ground. One of their flashiest tricks happened at ATMs. Because they controlled the bank's internal systems, they could send commands directly to cash machines and tell them to spit out money on cue. No card, no PIN, no account getting debited. Just cash pouring out at a specific time. Their mules would show up at a quiet ATM in a side street, wait for the machine to start feeding money, grab the bundles, and walk away. To anyone passing by, it looked like someone making a big withdrawal. Then there was the account inflation scam. The criminals targeted small, low-activity accounts, quietly bumping the balance up to a larger amount, then skimming off the difference to their own accounts and putting their original balance back. Done right, the customer never notices, and the books look clean. But when they accidentally inflated that elderly Russian man's account from 34 rubles to over 10 million, they slipped. That should have been a huge red flag. Instead, the bank assumed it was a simple mistake and moved on. That hesitation to see a crime where it must be an error helped the gang stay invisible longer. Eventually, the scale of the operation became too big to ignore. A major security company, Kaspersky Lab, dug into the Russian case and discovered it wasn't unique. European banks had been hit in similar ways. Law enforcement agencies across Europe and beyond formed a special task force to hunt the group, pooling information from banks, cybersecurity experts, and national investigators. The team found a tiny bug in the criminals' code that allowed them to send a special request out across the internet and wait for the criminal server to answer. After days of scanning, a server in the Netherlands finally responded. On that server were clues showing just how far the operation reached. Banks in Russia, Europe, Asia, Africa, and the United States had all been quietly attacked. Estimates suggest the gang stole hundreds of millions, possibly over $1 billion. For all their sophistication, what really cracked their armor was human error on their side. In 2016 in Taiwan, two money mules were emptying hacked ATMs when a local man walked up, just wanting to withdraw his own cash. The mules panicked and ran, leaving 60,000 new Taiwan dollars sitting in the machine. It didn't add up. Why would anyone flee and leave money behind? The man reported it. Police pulled CCTV footage, saw something was off, and moved fast. Over 500 officers combed through camera feeds, tracked suspects across multiple cities, and identified 22 people linked to the withdrawals, most of them from Russia and Eastern Europe. For the first time, the gang's foot soldiers were in handcuffs. One alleged organizer in that Taiwan operation, a Latvian man, tried to disappear. After seeing his face on national TV, he hid bags of cash in the mountains and fled to another province, hoping distance would save him. It didn't. Police arrested him the same day. Other mules stashed suitcases full of money in train station lockers, thinking they were being clever. They didn't realize police were already watching. Officers waited until two men collected the bags and went back to their hotel. While they sat down for brunch, police walked in and arrested them calmly, knowing they had the whole chain on video. Another break came in Spain in 2018. Spanish police were looking into a separate money laundering ring when they noticed one client stood out. A Ukrainian computer expert tied to Russian and Moldovan organized crime. He wasn't just moving dirty money, he was believed to be coordinating cyber attacks for the mob. His name, reported publicly as Dennis K., was soon linked to the Carbonac operation. When police raided his properties in Alicante, they found jewelry, luxury cars, and 15,000 bitcoins, worth around $150 million at the time. Even with that haul, most of the billion plus they were thought to have stolen was never recovered. The unsettling part is that investigators and security experts believe the story didn't end there. Groups linked to Carbonac are thought to have changed names, shifted tactics, and kept operating under labels like Fin7 and Cobalt Spider, continuing to target banks and large companies around the world. The faces and brand names change, but the core strategy remains the same. Find a human weakness, patiently study the system, then use the system against itself. For viewers in the United States, especially men over 45 who lived through the era of physical bank robberies and mob stories, this case is a clear sign of how the game has changed. Nobody needs to walk into a branch with a gun anymore. The crew now includes coders, social engineers, money mules, and launderers scattered across continents. The getaway car can be a quiet wire transfer, a crypto wallet, or an ATM spitting out cash at midnight. The Carbonac story also leaves a few lessons worth remembering. The first is that the weakest point in any system is usually a person just trying to do their job. A well-crafted email and a believable story can be more powerful than a lockpick. The second is that the most dangerous criminals are the ones willing to wait, to watch, and to learn how their target works before making a move. And the third is that even the smartest, richest institutions on Earth can be fooled if they shrug off strange events as just a glitch instead of asking, who might be behind this? In the end, this isn't just a story about banks losing money. It's about how crime has moved from the street corner to the server room, and how ordinary people's accounts sit in the middle. For a lot of viewers in their 40s, 50s, and beyond, it's a reminder that the world of organized crime didn't disappear. It just logged in.